Your success is not a mystery. It's a habit every single day. Winners make decisions that losers avoid. Winners don't wait to be inspired. They take charge of their own destiny. Success doesn't respond to luck. It responds to discipline, focus, and consistency. Listen, if you want to transform your life, stop asking for miracles and start forming daily habits. Because winners don't do great things occasionally. They do small, powerful things every single day. 7 things winners do every day they win the morning, because winners understand that how you start your day is how you frame your destiny. The morning isn't just a time to wake up, it's a moment to take command. Most people roll over, hit snooze, check their phones, and start reacting. But winners, they rise with clarity, not confusion. They don't wait to feel motivated. They create momentum by owning the first hour of their day. The morning is sacred. It's when the world is quiet, distractions are low, and the mind is most sensitive to influence. Winners don't start the day with noise. They start with alignment. Before the emails, the calls, and the chaos of the world, they speak to themselves. They declare what the day will become. They design it mentally before stepping into it physically. Have you ever noticed that the days you sleep in, rush out of bed, skip breakfast, and run late, those are the days that feel off balance? You're chasing the day instead of leading it. That's what the average person does. They survive their day. But winners, they command it. A winner doesn't just get up, they get up on purpose. They prepare their mind like a soldier prepares for war. They wake up with routines that train their body, their emotions, and their mindset. Some may go for a morning run. Others sit in silence and visualize their goals. Some read or journal. What they all have in common is this: they do not leave their day to chance. Look at successful athletes, entrepreneurs, creators. They all have morning rituals. Why? Because they know that ritual creates rhythm, and rhythm produces results. The moment you hit that alarm and choose discipline over delay, you're telling your mind who's in control. And that one decision sends a message to your entire day: I'm not here to drift. I'm here to dominate. Have you ever watched how a lion wakes up in the wild? It stretches, it scans, it doesn't panic, it positions itself. That's what winners do. They don't wake up anxious. They wake up aware. They stretch their thinking, scan their environment, and position themselves to attack their goals. When the average person is still sleeping, the winner is already rehearsing their vision. While others hit snooze 5 times, the winner has already stretched, hydrated, prayed, reflected, and strategized. Because the winner knows the one who owns the morning owns the day. Let's bring it home. Think about a builder constructing a skyscraper. Would they begin the day without reviewing the blueprint, without checking the tools, without inspecting the site? Of course not. That's foolish. And yet many people step into their day without any internal preparation. They go into meetings empty. They enter conversations reactive. They let life push them around instead of pushing life into alignment. But winners treat every morning like they're building their legacy. They wake up and lay one more brick, one more habit, one more moment of focus. They know success isn't made in a month. It's built in the mornings you conquer daily, even in your personal life. If you've ever had a rough morning, you know it spills into everything else. You snap at people, you forget details, you're mentally foggy. That's why the winner says, let me anchor my energy before the world demands it from me. They take time in the morning to strengthen their focus, to regulate their emotions, and to align their actions with their assignment. There's a reason the highest performing people in the world guard their mornings like treasure. It's the time where champions are forged, not found. If you keep waiting for motivation to wake you up, you'll keep missing opportunities. But if you train yourself to win the morning, even when you don't feel like it, you'll begin to unlock something inside of you: power, clarity, and authority. The average person says, it's too early. The winner says, it's my time. The average person says, I need more sleep. The winner says, I need more purpose. The average person says, I'll do it later. The winner says, if I don't do it now, I'm already behind. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a consistent rhythm, and that rhythm begins the moment your feet touch the floor. You win the morning when you stop reacting to the alarm and start responding to your calling. When you decide that your time is sacred, your energy is protected, and your mind is not available for nonsense. When you silence distractions and listen to your inner compass. Because here's the truth: the world gives its loudest noise to the quietest minds. But winners, they build their minds in the stillness of morning. They don't ask for a good day, they build one. They don't hope for peace, they practice it. They don't chase success, they attract it by how they start the day. You've got 24 hours like everyone else. The difference isn't in the clock. The difference is in the decision. Winners have decided that they will no longer start the day as victims of time. They will start it as creators of destiny. They feed their mind before they feed their body. Winners understand something that most people overlook. The mind eats first. Before they pour coffee into their cup, they pour clarity into their consciousness, because they know that the first thing you consume each morning doesn't just enter your stomach, it enters your soul. Average people wake up and scroll. They scroll through drama, noise, opinions, and problems. Before they even brush their teeth, they're already absorbing anxiety. Their minds are hijacked by headlines. Their peace is stolen by social media. Their emotions are scattered by comparison. That's why their day is foggy, their thoughts are reactive, and their energy is drained before noon. But winners, they protect their first input like gold. They don't grab their phone, they grab their focus. Before they nourish the body, they feed the brain. And they don't just feed it anything, they feed it vision, wisdom, and discipline. They choose what enters their mind because they understand this truth: what feeds you forms you. If you feed your mind with chaos, you'll create confusion. But if you feed it with clarity, you'll create conviction. The mind is soil. Whatever seed you plant will grow. So, winners plant powerful thoughts. They plant inspiration. They plant intention. Think of it like this: would you allow someone to dump garbage into your living room every morning? Of course not. That would be insane. Yet so many allow their minds, the most valuable real estate they own, to be flooded with mental trash before the day even begins. Winners see that as a violation. They don't allow nonsense into their sacred space of thought. Before breakfast, winners open a book. They play audio that challenges them. They write down goals. They repeat affirmations. They reflect on their mission. Because they know, if I can win my thoughts, I can win my day. Look around. Have you ever seen someone who's constantly angry, jealous, or negative? That's not random. That's the result of what they've been feeding their mind. You can't binge bitterness and expect to live in peace. You can't fill your mind with gossip and expect greatness. Winners don't just eat clean physically, they consume clean content mentally. This is why elite performers are intentional about their morning rituals. They rise and put on wisdom like armor. They speak to themselves, not just about what they're doing, but who they are becoming. Because the battle of success is first fought in the mind, and the mind must be nourished, trained, and protected daily. Even in practical life, think about your own experiences. On days when you listen to something empowering in the morning, doesn't your mood shift? Don't you feel more grounded, more bold, more centered? That's not magic. That's the result of proper mental nutrition. When your first input is strong, your mindset becomes resilient, your decisions become sharp, your presence becomes powerful. One winner I once listened to shared that every morning, before the sun even rises, he listens to 15 minutes of strategic wisdom every single day, no matter where he is in the world. He said, I don't allow my phone to speak before my purpose does. That's it right there. Who's speaking to your soul first thing in the morning? Because whoever you let speak first becomes the loudest voice in your day. Winners are not immune to fear, stress, or discouragement. But they do something most don't. They arm their mind before the battle begins. It's not enough to just want to be motivated. You have to feed your mindset like your life depends on it. Because in many ways it does. And it's not just about motivation, it's about identity. When you feed your mind before your body, you are telling yourself, my mental strength comes before my physical cravings. You're reversing the culture that says, feel first, then think. No, winners think first and then lead their emotions. They train their thoughts before their thoughts try to train them. This is how you go from drifting to dominating, from reacting to ruling, from overwhelmed to focused. Not by changing your job, your city, or your relationships, but by changing what you feed your mind with before the day begins. Because once your thoughts are clear, your path becomes clear. And the beauty is this: it doesn't take hours. 10 minutes of intentional input is more powerful than 2 hours of scrolling. Even one powerful quote, one idea, one word can shift the direction of your entire day. That's how the winner thinks. If I can feed my mind with something better than yesterday, I'll become someone stronger than yesterday. This is not hype. This is hygiene, mental hygiene. Just like brushing your teeth or showering, feeding your mind must become a non-negotiable routine, because a neglected mind is a vulnerable mind. And in a world where distractions are disguised as entertainment, you must become a gatekeeper of your focus. So the winner decides every morning, before I touch food, I touch purpose. Before I feed my body, I will fuel my destiny. They review their vision daily, because winners don't just dream big once. They revisit that dream every single day like it's oxygen. They understand that vision is not a one-time event, it's a daily alignment. Without vision, life becomes survival. Without vision, you settle for comfort over calling. But when your vision is alive, when it's fresh in your spirit, you don't just live, you lead. Most people wake up and go through the motions. They drive to work in autopilot. They do what they did yesterday and expect something new tomorrow. That's not life, that's existence. Winners don't just exist, they evolve. And the fuel for that evolution is vision. When a winner wakes up, they remind themselves why they started. They pull out the blueprint of their destiny and rehearse it in their mind like a movie. They speak it, they see it, they feel it. Because if you don't see the future, you will repeat the past. Vision is the bridge between where you are and where you're called to be. Let me make it plain. If you've ever driven a car without GPS in a city you don't know, you understand the frustration. You take wrong turns, you waste time, you second guess every move. That's what life looks like without vision, full of movement but lacking direction. Winners don't guess their way through life. They review the map every day so they can walk with certainty. Even professional athletes, some of the most gifted individuals alive, don't rely on talent alone. They visualize their performance before stepping onto the field. They play the game in their minds before the whistle blows. Why? Because the mind must believe it before the body achieves it. The vision must be rehearsed before the victory is realized. This is why winners carry their vision everywhere. Some write it on their mirrors. Some read it before bed. Others speak it out loud in the morning. But they all have one thing in common. They never let the vision go cold. They don't tuck it away in a notebook or keep it hidden in a folder. They interact with it. They wrestle with it. They breathe life into it daily. The average person says, I had a dream once. The winner says, I see my dream every day. The average person moves based on how they feel. The winner moves based on what they see. And what they see is their future, even when their present doesn't match it. They remind themselves that today's struggles are the soul of tomorrow's success. That the tension they feel is not a sign to quit. It's a sign that greatness is near. Winners know that the moment you stop reviewing the vision is the moment you start drifting into distraction. Life has too many voices pulling at you. Responsibilities, notifications, opinions. If you don't intentionally focus on what matters, you'll be swallowed by what doesn't. But when your vision is clear, it becomes your filter. It tells you what to say no to. It tells you where your energy should go. It helps you prioritize your purpose over your preferences. You've seen it before. A person full of potential, but scattered, talented, but lost, brilliant, but distracted. That's what happens when you abandon your vision. You can be busy and still be blind. You can be successful and still be stuck. Vision is what turns activity into assignment. Without it, you move, but you never arrive. There's a difference between having sight and having vision. Sight is what your eyes see. Vision is what your spirit sees. Sight shows you the present. Vision reveals your potential. And winners spend time with their potential every day. Not because they're escaping reality, but because they're shaping it. Think about a sculptor standing in front of a block of marble. To most people, it looks like a rock, but the artist sees the masterpiece inside. Every day he chisels. Every day he removes a piece that doesn't belong. Not because he hopes something is in there, but because he knows what's in there. That's how winners treat their vision. They don't guess, they don't wish. They see the finished product and then they chisel every day to release it. You might say, but I've lost motivation. That's because you've stopped looking at the vision. Vision is what fuels consistency. It's what gets you up when life knocks you down. It's what keeps you building when the results are slow. Without vision, obstacles look like walls. But with vision, obstacles become stepping stones. It's not that winners don't face pressure. It's that their vision is louder than their pain. It's not that they don't feel tired. It's that they've reviewed their why so deeply that fatigue doesn't stop them. When everyone else is talking about distractions, winners are reminding themselves of destiny. You don't need a perfect plan, you need a clear picture. When your vision is clear, your energy follows, your mind aligns, your habits adjust. The moment you start seeing it clearly is the moment your life starts moving powerfully. And that's why the winner refuses to let a day go by without looking at it again. They review it like a general reviews a strategy, not casually, but intentionally, because once the vision becomes clear in your mind, nothing in your life can stay the same. They attack the hardest task first. Winners don't wait for motivation to strike before they act. They strike first, especially when it comes to the hard things. While most people avoid discomfort, winners walk straight into it. They don't tiptoe around their biggest challenges. They don't waste the morning on easy tasks just to feel productive. No, they wake up, identify the one thing they least want to do, and they conquer it immediately because they know that the battle you delay becomes the burden you carry. Average people delay the hard stuff. They say, I'll do it later, but later becomes next week, and next week becomes never. The task sits in their mind like a weight on their chest, draining energy even when it's untouched. They confuse movement with progress, answering emails, organizing notes, checking notifications, all the while avoiding the one thing that would actually move their life forward. That's the trap of procrastination. It convinces you you're being productive while you're actually being distracted by comfort. But the winner walks into the fire early before fear has a chance to build a fortress in their mind. They understand that the hardest task isn't just a job, it's a gatekeeper to growth. It's the very thing that stands between where they are and who they're becoming. They don't shrink from it. They schedule it, they face it, and they slay it. Think about your own life. How many times have you put off that one phone call, that one workout, that one business decision, only to feel a cloud of stress hovering over you the entire day? The task doesn't just sit on your to-do list, it sits in your spirit, whispering reminders, stealing your peace. Now imagine doing that hard thing first. Imagine waking up and running towards it like a lion. You'd gain momentum, you'd take your power back. That's what winners do. They don't serve fear, they send it running. They know that doing the hard thing first changes how the whole day flows. It sets the tone, because when you tackle the biggest mountain before 9 a.m., the rest of the day feels like downhill. Confidence rises, energy builds. You don't walk into your tasks, you dominate them. That's the power of prioritizing the difficult. It makes the impossible feel achievable. There's a reason top-performing CEOs, athletes, and creatives share this habit. They've learned that the longer you wait to do the hard thing, the heavier it becomes. Like a snowball rolling downhill, procrastination grows. And by the time you finally approach it, you're exhausted, not from doing it, but from thinking about it too long. But winners never give their fear time to negotiate. They understand this. Discipline over delay equals dominance. Imagine someone trying to start a business, but they keep avoiding the pitch. They organize their files, they design the logo, they tweak their website, but the one thing they fear, calling potential clients, never gets done. Why? Because it's uncomfortable, because rejection is scary. But what if they made that call first thing every morning? What if they conditioned themselves to do the difficult first? In 30 days, their confidence would multiply, their skills would sharpen, their vision would be in motion, not stuck in preparation mode. Winners embrace the discomfort of growth. They see pressure not as a problem, but as a pathway to power. Every time they attack the hard task first, they build muscle, not just physical, but mental, emotional, spiritual muscle. They train themselves to be bigger than their excuses. They condition their soul to rise above hesitation, and make no mistake, winners feel fear too. But they act in spite of it, because they understand a truth most people run from. Fear fades after you move. The first few seconds are hard, but once your emotion, confidence kicks in, clarity follows action. And what once looked like a mountain becomes a moment of mastery. This is the daily rhythm of champions. Wake up, identify the dragon, and slay it before breakfast. They don't let resistance linger. They don't overthink. They don't drown in hesitation. They execute, because they know that victory belongs to those who act when it's most uncomfortable, not when it's convenient. Even in everyday life, you're a parent with a difficult conversation to have with your teenager, but you keep putting it off. Or you're an employee with a bold idea, but you fear judgment. The longer you wait, the more tension builds. But once you step in and do it, you realize the thing you feared wasn't as big as the story you told yourself. Winners understand that the task doesn't shrink. You grow into the size of it when you face it early. So they build this into their life like a ritual. They look at the mountain and say, "You don't scare me anymore. You're my stepping stone, and I eat hard things for breakfast." They don't need perfect circumstances. They don't wait to feel ready. They become ready by doing. Because when the hard thing is done, everything else becomes easier. Focus is sharper. Purpose is clearer. And the momentum becomes unstoppable. They invest in growth because winners understand something most people ignore. You don't grow by accident, you grow by intention. Nothing in life improves on its own. Not your mind, not your money, not your health, not your character. Growth is a decision you make daily, not a gift that drops out of the sky. The difference between people who stay stuck and people who soar is simple. The stuck ones wait for change. The soaring ones become the change. Winners treat growth like oxygen. They don't dabble in development, they devour it. They understand that who they are today is not enough to reach the level they've seen in their spirit. So they stretch themselves. They read books most won't open. They listen to wisdom most ignore. They invest time, money, and energy into becoming who the future version of them demands. Think about a tree. You plant it, you water it, you nurture it, and over time it grows. But if you leave it alone, if you stop feeding it, if you ignore it, it doesn't stay the same size, it withers. Life is no different. You're either growing or dying. Winners choose to grow on purpose every single day. Some people spend hours scrolling social media, binge watching shows, consuming content that doesn't elevate their mind. And then they wonder why nothing in their life is shifting. Winners flip the script. They're intentional with every hour. They carve out time for growth. They listen to podcasts while driving. They swap gossip for gratitude. They replace mindless entertainment with mind-expanding education. A person's life will never rise higher than their mindset, and mindset is shaped by exposure. If all you hear is complaints, you'll think life is unfair. But if you're feeding on powerful thoughts, if you're soaking in wisdom from mentors, books, audios, your thinking begins to change. And when your thinking shifts, your actions shift. And when your actions shift, your life transforms. Winners know they weren't born to remain average. And so they never settle for what's easy. They chase what's elevating. They spend money on coaching when others are spending it on shoes. They attend seminars while others sleep in, not because they're better, but because they're hungry. And hunger is the fuel of transformation. Every successful person you admire today didn't get there by wishing. They paid the price of growth. They stayed up studying when it was easier to scroll. They sacrificed pleasure for purpose. They listened to hard truths instead of soft lies. And now they walk in rooms others only dream of. Not by luck, but by investment. You can't grow in silence. You need input. You need challenge. You need feedback. Winners don't avoid growth because it's uncomfortable. They pursue it because it's uncomfortable. They understand that growth happens on the edges of your comfort zone, and they live at that edge every day. If it scares them, they lean in. If it stretches them, they say yes, because they know that comfort is the enemy of calling. Imagine a person who wants to be a speaker, but never reads, never listens, never what happens. Their gift stays shallow. But the one who devours communication books, who watches great speakers, who practices in front of a mirror every morning, that person evolves. That person multiplies their value. That person becomes unrecognizable in a year. Winners don't invest in growth once a year or when it's convenient. They build it into their life like brushing their teeth. Daily, consistent, intentional exposure to greatness. They treat growth like a seed, knowing that small actions done consistently will produce a harvest too big to contain. They also protect their environment because growth can't thrive in toxicity. They surround themselves with voices that stretch them, not shrink them. They leave conversations that keep them small. They walk away from people who mock growth. Because they understand this, you can't evolve in a cage of comfort. So they choose their circle carefully because their future is too important to gamble with. And when it gets hard, they remind themselves growth is not an event, it's a process. Sometimes messy, often slow, but always worth it. They don't get discouraged by how far they still have to go because they're focused on how far they've already come. They measure progress, not perfection. And every step forward is a reminder. I'm not who I was, and I'm not yet who I will be, but I'm moving. In a world where most people consume entertainment, winners consume empowerment. While others waste time, they build time. While others look for distractions, they search for development. Because they understand this law, the more I grow, the more I can give. The more I stretch, the more I can serve. And the more I invest in myself, the more valuable I become to the world around me. Winners treat growth as their greatest weapon. They don't wait to be chosen. They prepare to be called. They don't hope doors will open. They train to walk through them. Every book, every mentor, every note, every mistake learned from, it's all part of the investment because their future is not built by chance, it's built by choice. Daily, deliberate, unshakable choice. They connect with purposeful people. Winners don't walk with everyone, they walk with the right ones. They understand that the people around you are not just background characters in your story. They're either fueling your future or fighting your focus. They know that the company you keep is shaping the conversation in your mind, the confidence in your heart, and the clarity of your direction. That's why winners are extremely intentional about their circle. They don't let random energy disrupt their purpose. They guard their gates and choose their associations like architects choose materials with precision. Because here's the truth most people avoid: you can't fly with anchors around your ankles. Some people are nice but not necessary. Some are loyal but not aligned. Some are familiar but not fruitful. Winners know the difference. They don't cling to people out of guilt or history. They ask a better question: where are we going, and are you equipped to walk there with me? It's not about arrogance. It's about assignment. Winners don't keep company just because they went to school together or share the same bloodline. They're not afraid to outgrow rooms that no longer reflect their destiny because they know that connection is not about comfort. It's about calling. Purposeful people don't just make you feel good, they make you grow. They challenge your thinking, call out your excuses, hold you to your standard. And if someone's presence is constantly pulling you back into old patterns, the winner knows it's time to bless them and keep walking. Imagine a person trying to quit smoking, but hanging out daily with a group that smokes. It doesn't matter how strong their will is, their environment is feeding the very habit they're trying to kill. Or think of someone trying to build a business, but every conversation around them is about problems, not possibilities. How can vision grow in a climate of complaint? It can't. Winners understand this. That's why they choose their circle based on destiny, not drama. Winners seek out people who are passionate about growth. People who talk about ideas, not just people. People who pray, plan, push. People who stretch them and celebrate them, not those who shrink them or secretly compete. Because when you walk with purposeful people, you walk in alignment. There's less noise, more clarity. Less friction, more flow. Less drama, more destiny. And yes, sometimes the winner has to walk alone for a while because before connection comes separation. You may have to exit some groups, change your patterns, go silent on certain friendships. That's not loneliness, that's leadership. Winners are not afraid to be misunderstood for a season if it means standing in integrity with their future. They don't fear being alone. They fear being misaligned. They also know that purposeful people don't always look flashy. Some are quiet giants, humble mentors, iron sharpeners. They may not post their every move, but their wisdom is rich, their presence is sharp, and their values are solid. Winners recognize wisdom, and they don't let ego stop them from learning. They ask questions. They sit at the feet of those who have walked longer roads. They listen more than they speak because they know in the presence of purpose, silence becomes strategy. Winners also collaborate, not compete. They understand that purposeful people don't just push you forward, they partner with you, they share ideas, support your growth, challenge your blind spots, and dream with you. The synergy is electric. You leave those conversations on fire. You leave their presence feeling like you've touched the future. There's no room for small talk, only bold talk, strategic talk. Visionary dialogue that makes you want to run after your assignment with fresh focus. In daily life, this might mean reaching out to someone who intimidates you, because deep down, you know they're walking at the level you're called to. It might mean joining a mastermind group, a mentorship program, or sitting with that wise older man at your job who drops gold in casual conversation. It might mean walking away from the crew that always wants to party on weekends when you're trying to build your dream. Purposeful people don't always show up wrapped in glitter. Sometimes they come in quiet consistency, in real accountability, in inconvenient truth. Winners choose those relationships. They protect those relationships. They nurture them. They know that divine alignment is rare, and when they find it, they water it. They don't just take, they give back. They show up. They grow together. And they push each other into greatness. And yes, sometimes it stings to outgrow people, but winners remind themselves if they were meant to walk this path with you, they'd be growing in the same direction. If not, let them go with love. Because no matter how heavy your heart is, you cannot carry people who are committed to crawling when you were born to climb. Winners never apologize for being serious about their future. They know you become like the loudest voices in your life. So they turn the volume up on visionaries, doers, thinkers, warriors, dreamers, and turn the volume down on chaos, confusion, and compromise. Because at the end of the day, your circle is either sharpening your sword or dulling your spirit. It's either building your belief or breeding your doubt. And winners don't take that lightly. They walk with the wise. They lock arms with the focused. They connect with the called. Not because it's easy, but because their purpose is too powerful to gamble on the wrong crowd. They practice gratitude and reflection. Winners know that success without soul is emptiness wearing a crown. That's why every day, without fail, they pause to reflect and give thanks. They understand that reflection is not a luxury, it's a discipline. Gratitude is not a passive feeling, it's an active force. It's the foundation that keeps them humble in success, hopeful in struggle, and hungry for purpose. You see, in a world that rushes to the next thing, the next goal, the next high, the next accomplishment, winners stop and say, wait, let me recognize the blessing in this breath. Let me appreciate the journey, not just the destination, because if you don't pause to feel the moment, you rob yourself of the reward. Winners never let what they want blind them to what they have. When they wake up in the morning, they don't start with complaints. They start with consciousness. They understand that waking up is not an accident, it's an assignment. Every new day is a page, and they choose to write with thankfulness before ambition. That attitude of gratitude isn't weakness, it's warfare. It shifts their focus from lack to abundance, from stress to strength. It reminds them that no matter what's missing, something is working. Think about it. How many people go through life waiting for some big break to be grateful? They say, when I get the job, I'll give thanks. When I move into the house, I'll be happy. When I reach the top, I'll appreciate the climb. But winners flip that. They say, I'm thankful in the valley. I'm grateful in the grind. I'm rejoicing while the paint is still drying. Because they know what you appreciate appreciates. What you water grows. What you celebrate multiplies. A woman can work 2 jobs, barely getting by, but every night she writes 3 things she's grateful for in a notebook. Over time, something shifts, her peace grows, her vision sharpens, her resilience increases. Why? Because gratitude is not a reaction, it's a strategy, and winners use it daily. Reflection is the twin sister of gratitude. It's where winners take inventory. They look back, not to regret, but to reveal. They ask, what worked today? What didn't? Where did I rise? Where did I retreat? They don't reflect to beat themselves up, they reflect to build themselves up. A champion watches the replay, not just the highlight reel, but the mistakes, the missed opportunities, the minor improvements that lead to major shifts. Reflection gives winners wisdom. It keeps them from repeating cycles. It teaches them how to turn pain into patterns and failures into formulas. It's like sharpening your sword after every battle, not because you lost, but because you're getting ready for more. A man may come home after a 12-hour shift, and before he turns on the TV, he sits in silence for 10 minutes and reflects, was I present today? Did I lead with integrity? Where did I let fear make the decision? That stillness becomes his strength, because winners know in the silence you hear the truth, and truth, no matter how uncomfortable, is the launch pad for growth. Most people are moving so fast they never stop to check the map. But winners pause. They don't just hustle harder, they think deeper. They live with a journal, not just a to-do list. Because success isn't just about crossing things off, it's about understanding why they matter. Gratitude and reflection keep the heart soft. They protect against ego and burnout. They remind you that you're not just building a career, you're becoming a character. That every day is not just a task, it's a test of your spirit. That the goal is not just to win, but to win with wholeness. In daily life, it might mean you start your day with 5 minutes of silence, thanking the morning for showing up. It might mean writing a quick note of appreciation to someone who helped you instead of taking it for granted. It might mean asking yourself at night, did I live aligned today? Or did I live distracted? Small action, big power. Winners don't wait for dramatic moments to reflect. They do it in the ordinary. After a meeting, after a failure, after a win, after a hard conversation, they reflect so they don't repeat. They give thanks so they don't take. They pause so they don't plummet. And in doing so, they become more than achievers. They become anchored, because gratitude is a magnet. It attracts the right people, the right opportunities, the right mindset. It shifts your frequency from fear to favor, from stress to strategy, from chasing to choosing. When you are thankful, you are powerful. When you reflect, you are wise. When you do both, you are unstoppable. Winners understand it's not what you drive, what you wear, or where you live that determines your wealth. It's the depth of your awareness, the strength of your gratitude, the honesty of your reflection. That's the true edge. That's the unshakable ground. That's where greatness grows. If you want to rise above average, you must stop thinking like the average. Winners are not born, they are built daily through decision, discipline, and dedication. And the truth is, every day you wake up, you are either getting closer to your calling or further from it. There is no neutral ground. Every small act of discipline, every focused move, it all adds up. The difference between those who only dream and those who live their dreams is simple: action backed by belief, belief reinforced by habits, and habits rooted in purpose. It's not the big breaks that make people successful. It's the small, often unseen choices they make when no one is clapping, when the cameras are off, when the applause is silent. That's when champions are carved, the people you admire. They didn't just wish for success. They worked for it, bled for it, and showed up on the days they didn't feel like it. They did what needed to be done, not what was easy to do. You see, the world doesn't reward effort, it rewards results. But results are built on the back of relentless effort. Results come from doing what others won't, so you can live how others can't. Every day you delay your discipline, someone else is moving ahead with theirs. Every excuse you make becomes a chain, holding you back from what you were born to do. But here's the good news. You're not too late, and it's not too hard, because the fire you need is already inside you. The only question is, will you light it? It's easy to look at others and think they had some magic formula, but winners didn't find the magic. They created it through the madness, through the mess, through the mornings they wanted to quit. They said, I will keep showing up even if no one sees it, even if it takes time, because my future is too important to gamble with comfort. You were not born to fit in. You were born to break patterns, set standards, and raise the bar. The enemy of greatness is not failure, it's comfort. Comfort tells you to slow down. Comfort tells you you've done enough. Comfort whispers that playing it safe is wise. But greatness screams GTUPUSFAR, because what's waiting on the other side of resistance is a version of you this world has never seen before. You cannot control the storm, but you can train for it. You cannot always predict the outcome, but you can prepare your mind. And when preparation meets purpose, nothing can stop you. Your past, it's a classroom, not a prison. Your pain, that's your fuel, not your finish line. And your purpose, it's not something outside you to chase. It's within you, begging you to release it. So let this be your declaration. I will not settle. I will not shrink. I will not surrender my potential to fear, laziness, or doubt. I will rise. I will win. I will live every day as if destiny is watching. Because it is. Remember, there is someone watching you right now, not to judge, but to learn. Someone's breakthrough is tied to your boldness. Someone's healing is tied to your courage. Someone's vision is tied to your victory. So don't just win for you, win for the generations coming after you. Win because mediocrity is not your name. Win because you were born with breath that carries impact. Win because your existence is evidence that this world still needs what you carry. Liz Brown once said, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. And that's the truth. Today, not tomorrow, is your starting line. Muhammad Ali said, I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion. What are you willing to suffer for? What are you willing to sacrifice to see your future self clap for you? Your story is still being written. The pen is in your hand, so write like a warrior, move like a giant. Speak like your words can shape worlds. Think like someone who already knows the battle is won. Because when you live like that, with clarity, courage, and conviction. The world doesn't just notice, it changes because of you.